In this video from the online resources for a teacher's guide to vocabulary lessons throughout the day, students learn vocabulary to help them discuss signs of fall.
So friends, can you say migrate?
Migrate!
Now, author Tanya Wright shows us how this lesson might be modified for remote learning.
So today I'm going to read this book, Hello Autumn, with some wonderful friends. And I'm excited to do an interactive read aloud with them in an online remote environment. Hi, I'm Dr. Wright, and we're going to be reading a book today called Hello Autumn. Autumn is the season between summer and winter, and sometimes we call autumn fall. Can you all say autumn?
Autumn.
Autumn. And it's autumn right now, isn't it?
Yes, it
It is. And
Happy
so
autumn.
and so what we're going to do today is we're going to read this book, and this book is going to give us a lot of information about autumn and some of the signs of autumn. And as you read with me today, I want you to think about if you, when you look outside or when you've been for a walk or when you've looked out the window, if you have seen any signs of autumn outside your house or in your neighborhood, okay? So let's look at this book together and we can talk a little bit more about signs of autumn. So hello, autumn. What are some signs of autumn that you already see on the front here? Oh, I see that Piper is raising her hand. What do you see, Piper?
I see colors in the trees.
You do, the leaves changing colors in the trees. How about you, Donovan? What do you see that might be a sign of autumn?
Pumpkins.
You see pumpkins. And we definitely see a lot of pumpkins in autumn. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Here we go. So it says, summer is ending and autumn is coming.
Oh, no.
Some animals migrate. They go south to find food, to stay warm, or to breed. So migrate means to move from one place to another when it gets cold or when it gets too cold. Animals go and live in a different place where they can find the food and shelter and weather that they need to survive. And sometimes we see birds flying to a warmer place for the winter when they migrate. Can you say migrate?
Migrate.
Migrate. People are getting ready for winter too. We harvest the last crops, carrots, pumpkin, squash, and apple. So harvest is when we pick or gather the food that has been grown that's now ready to eat. So let's see some of the fall crops that we harvest. Do you know what this one is? Let's see. Mika, what do you think?
Squash.
Squash.
Or a different kind of squash. And what is this friend eating?
An apple.
An apple. You can all tell me what this friend is holding.
Carrot.
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 So look at all these different vegetables that are harvested in the autumn. Let's talk about autumn a little bit. You ready? And some of what we learned about autumn. So I made this drawing for you, and my daughter helped. She drew the pictures to talk about the different seasons. So what season are we in now? Can you say it together? Fall. And what's another word that we just learned for fall?
Autumn.
Got it. And so what is the sign of autumn that we see right here? Let's see who can raise their hand and tell me. Let's see. Tanner, what do you see right here that tells you that it's autumn?
Different color leaves.
Can you say that again? I didn't hear so well.
Different color leaves.
The different color leaves. Okay, and then what season comes after autumn? Let's roll around here. What do you see next?
Winter.
Winter. Okay, and let's see if Mika can tell us, how can you tell what's a sign that this is winter?
Because there's no leaves on the tree.
Because there are no leaves on the trees. And then after winter, we get so excited when what season happens next, Donovan?
Spring.
Spring. And how can you tell from this picture that it's spring?
Because I see trees I see leaves.
You see leaves and maybe some little pink. Does anyone know what these little pink things might be called? Clara, do you know? Buds.
Apples or
They might be apples or some they might be some apple blossoms probably in spring. No apples quite
Apple.
yet, just the blossoms.
I think.
And then after the spring, we get really excited because it gets so hot and it is.
Summer.
Okay, and then it becomes autumn or fall again. So we've talked a little bit about autumn, which is the season we're in right now, and some signs of autumn. And we talked a little bit about the idea that in autumn, we sometimes harvest some special food. So harvest is when we pick or gather the food that has been growing. And I brought some food to show you today that we harvest. Anyone know what this one is? You can all say it together. Pumpkin. Has anyone seen a pumpkin? Oh, look at that. Oh, and you have a pumpkin too, and it's a cute little one like mine. Oh, and when did you get that pumpkin?
From my teacher.
From your teacher? Because your teacher has noticed and knows that pumpkins are a sign of fall. And we harvest pumpkins in the fall, okay? What are these? Let's see, I see Piper. What are these?
Apples.
Apples, and we harvest apples in the fall. Has anyone ever been picking apples in the fall? Have you been to pick apples? That's kind of a fun thing to do sometimes. And we eat a lot of apples and they're delicious in the fall. Clara, do you have something to add?
Apples can be many colors, like yellow or green.
Yes, apples can be many colors. Like this one is red and yellow, and this one is green. So that's something wonderful. And look at this other big thing. Oh, it's so big and heavy. Anyone know what this one is? Let's see.
Oh my goodness. So
It's a big
big.
one, right? Mika, what do you think this is?
A squash.
A squash. This is a butternut squash, which is another vegetable that we harvest in the fall. So when we see lots of these vegetables in the store or we see them around, we know it's probably what season?
Fall.
Fall. And what's another word for that season?
Autumn.
Autumn. That's great. You got it. All right. I have one more thing I want to talk to you about today that is a sign of autumn. You ready?
Ready.
Okay.
Ready.
We looked at this page. Do you remember this page? And it said that some animals migrate. And we said migrate is when animals move from one place to another when it gets too cold. And the animals need to go and live in a different place where they can get what they need, right? Like the food and the shelter and the weather they need to survive. So here we have some birds that are migrating. Can you say migrate?
Migrate.
Okay, so here we go. This is what I want you to try to do. Can you take your hands? Can you take your hands and put them in your screen and make a bird with your hands? Okay, so now we are all going to be birds who are feeling like it's not good weather to get what we need to survive, and we have to migrate. We have to migrate to a warmer place. So let's see if we can migrate to migrate our birds to a different part of our screens. So I'm going to go way up here. I'm migrating over here. Can we migrate? So now we are somewhere nice and warm where we can get what we need. And so we are going to stay in the nice warm place for the winter. And then let's see if someone can tell me, Piper, after the winter is over, what do you think we'll need to do?
We'll have to go back home.
So what is that word that we need to do?
Migrate.
Migrate. So we are going to migrate our hands back. Owen, do you want to migrate with us? We're going to migrate back to where we started. So let's migrate back.
Yeah, migrating back to the beginning.
Back to the beginning. So can everybody say migrate?
Migrate.
Okay, so now that we have read a book about signs of autumn, I'm hoping that each friend can tell me some signs of autumn that you have noticed outside your house or in your neighborhood. And I will just, I'll call names. Donovan, do you have any signs of fall that you've noticed?
Oh, yes. Pumpkins are grown.
You've noticed that pumpkins have grown. What else have you noticed?
Leaves are falling.
And leaves are falling. So you've noticed that pumpkins are growing and leaves are falling. That is very exciting. And then I think, Clara, did you want to share something about signs of autumn that you've noticed?
Yeah, there are always pumpkins everywhere.
There are pumpkins everywhere. Where are some places that you've noticed pumpkins?
My neighbor's house.
Your neighbor has a lot of pumpkins? That's fun. And Mika, what have you noticed that's a sign of fall?
I noticed Canadian geese are flying to a warmer place.
Wow. And do you
Waiting.
Cool. And do you remember the word we just learned for when the geese fly to a warmer place?
Migrating.
Migrating. So you've noticed the geese migrating to a warmer place. Okay. Does anyone else have anything they want to add about signs of autumn?
That the sun rises later.
The sun rises later. So it's dark in the morning when you get ready and you get dressed and you eat your breakfast maybe. Okay, friends. Well, thank you. I wanted to thank you for reading with me today and talking with me all about autumn. It was really fun to get to meet all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.